Hey everyone, welcome to this explainer. Today we're going to uncover how seemingly mundane physical objects serve as direct portals to some of the absolutely most significant moments in human history. We so often think of history as something trapped in thick textbooks or, distant stone monuments. But the truth? It's actually much more tactile than that. Because the reality is, history is traded every single day in auction houses all over the world. Poignant, bizarre, and totally unique items are constantly changing hands. And we rarely get to see these artifacts before they just vanish into private collections. But today, we are bringing them right to your screen.
So, let me ask you, what do a crude hand-drawn map, a baby's silver rattle, and a gruesome medieval-looking mask all have in common? Well, let's dive into this, because each of these unassuming objects actually holds the intimate secrets to a massive global turning point. They aren't just old artifacts, they are entire human stories, totally frozen in time.
Section 1. The Crucible of War, Survival and Duty.
Okay, so what's truly fascinating here is how a simple, everyday object like a flight logbook gains this immense level of provenance. It isn't just a notebook anymore. Because of the specific, genuinely terrifying mission recorded inside its pages, it basically transforms into a crucial documentary artifact, linking one single man to a pivotal moment in the Second World War. And this perfectly illustrates the macro scale of naval strategy, but anchored entirely to one individual. Just picture this: Flight Sergeant Cecil Davis flying a Catalina seaplane directly into heavy anti-aircraft fire, all to shadow the 50,000-ton German battleship Bismarck. His logbook entry is so casually chilling, it just reads, "Located German battleship Bismarck, attacked by anti-aircraft fire." Sinking this massive threat was absolutely crucial for Britain's survival and a huge boost to 1941 morale. And Davis? He was right there in the thick of the Atlantic fog.
Now let's transition from the skies of the Second World War down into the horrific trenches of World War I. Take a look at this. I mean, it literally looks like something straight from a medieval jousting field, right? But it was actually worn by a tank driver named Charlie Boyce. It's a splatter mask, invented by the tank crews themselves, that combined really soft leather with heavy chainmail just to stop flying rivets and shrapnel from hitting them inside those early armored vehicles.
So this mask isn't just a weird curiosity. It is a direct window into the hellish, comatose environment of the first operational Mark I tanks at the Battle of the Somme. I mean, the crews endured unbelievable heat, poisonous engine fumes, banging metal, all just to break the trench deadlock. Charlie Boyce actually kept this mask in a drawer alongside a single bullet that missed him. It's just a quiet, powerful testament to incredible human endurance.
Section 2. Royal Intimacy, Unveiling the Monarchy.
All right, from the blood and mud of the battlefield, we're transitioning into the palace. It's kind of incredible to think that because Princess Elizabeth wasn't initially expected to be queen, at least not until her uncle's stunning abdication in 1936, her parents actually allowed these completely unguarded, relaxed photos taken by Marcus Adams. Think about it. In the 1920s, showing a 15-month-old royal baby happily playing with a little rattle, that was a radical departure from the stiff, formal portraits everyone expected. It totally transformed the monarchy's image into something, well, relatable. And speaking of relatable, look at this number, 3.5. That is a surprisingly tiny shoe size, and it belonged to none other than Queen Victoria. I think it provides this really stark, humanizing juxtaposition to a formidable monarch who, let's remember, ruled over a quarter of the world's population and had an entire era named after her. We actually have this treasure trove of her 1840s wardrobe that was literally unearthed from a trunk. These pristine clothes, including stockings monogrammed with VRI for Victoria Regina and Empress of India, were gifted to her friend Eunice Bagster at Windsor Castle and then passed down for 150 years. Honestly, seeing a 26-inch waist petticoat and those tiny stitched leather shoes, it just gives us an incredibly relatable, tactile connection to a global icon.
Section 3. The Price of Rebellion, A Map of Treason.
25,000. That is the massive number of guns that former British diplomat Roger Casement actually tried to smuggle from Germany via a U-boat. His goal? To arm Irish nationalists against British rule right in the lead up to the Easter Rising. We can trace his desperate, freezing hours right on the Irish coast. So picture it. Good Friday, 1916. His dinghy capsizes, leaving him completely drenched in the freezing water. He tries to hide out in an ancient ring fort surrounded by marsh, but word gets out about a boat and weapons on the beach.
He's swiftly arrested. And this single, catastrophic morning directly preceded the bloody 5-day Easter Rising in Dublin. Now, after his arrest, Casement was hauled off to London to face charges of treason. He desperately needed funds for his legal defense, right? So he drew this exact, really hurried pencil sketch at Scotland Yard. It showed his interrogators exactly where he had buried £50 in gold and silver coins back at that Irish ring fort. But when local police went to look for it, they reported they couldn't find a single coin. Well, this reveals a truly tragic twist of fate hidden right in the margins of history. A century later, a note surfaced from Casement's interrogator, Frank Hall, and it reveals that the local police actually did find the money. They lied about it and just divided the gold and silver amongst themselves. Denied the funds he needed for a proper defense, Casement was hanged at 51, cementing his status as a martyr to the Irish Republican cause. Section 4. Our enduring human history, through the lens of spectacles. Finally, let's weave the through line of human evolution by looking at a surprisingly simple everyday object, spectacles. This timeline maps a really fascinating journey through a 200-year collection. We go from the 14th century, where glasses were these rare tools used only by literate monks, to the 1830s with specialized surgeons' glasses. It even stretches straight through to the 1940s, where entirely new factories had to be built to mass-produce flat spectacles specifically designed to slip underneath military gas masks for survival during the Second World War. And you know what's really interesting? How a simple, functional spring mechanism turned a basic visual aid into a major political fashion statement. The pince-nez style didn't even have earpieces, literally meaning to pinch the nose. It connected medieval aesthetics right with 19th century style and was largely popularized by figures like American President Teddy Roosevelt. Now, wrap your head around this. 5 billion. That is literally half of the entire global population that is expected to need glasses by the year 2050. This massive number proves how an ancient object, originally meant for just a tiny fraction of religious scholars, is now permanently tied to the social, industrial, and educational development of all humanity. Which brings us to our final thought. From a tank driver's handmade chainmail mask to a queen's tiny leather shoe, the objects we hold, use, and discard are silent witnesses to the lives we lead. We are leaving our own hidden histories behind every single day, folks. So take a look around you, right now, at the everyday objects sitting on your desk or in your drawers, and ask yourself, what will your legacy be? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep questioning the world around you, and we'll catch you next time.